Okay guys, so here we go. We're gonna use the Vixen Super Polaris. Should be enough for these two guys because that's only 9 pounds. This one is about 13 pounds. There we go. I put a second counterweight. I've already balanced it on both sides. Looks really good. What is a little tricky is that when you have these built-in dovetails that don't have rings, your viewing angle could be weird. So I got them both like this. So obviously I can look, even when I extend it this way, then I can look at this guy. So it's not the best. I would have preferred that focuser to be on this side, but it is what it is. Now the moon should be out. There it is. I just see it right there. You can't really tell it's the moon, but that's it. So I'm gonna have to wait till it goes out in the open. But this is what we're gonna work with. Let's see how it goes. I already have the power set up. My eyepiece case is there with all the powers that I have to match. And I'll see you guys in about an hour, hour and a half. Okay, so it's only about 1 millimeter away from the center, and it's practically right in the center. So this one's 99% collimated. And this one looks like it's in the center, but there's no center dot, so it's hard to tell. And the dot is pretty much about 1 millimeter away, so that should be good too. Okay, so looking at the moon right there from this angle, here is the setup that I have here. So let's start with this way. You guys seen where I built the dual adapter to hold 2 telescopes. It still looks rock solid, or semi-rock solid at least, non-driven. But you can see when you don't have rings on a telescope, the weird angles the focuser could be. So I'm kind of looking down. So I had to raise it at least a foot. But at least I can look this way, which is down, but I can still do it. And then this one, you know, it's not the most ideal setup, but it can work. Okay, so moon is there. Let's start with the Skywatcher Heritage. We're at 31 power. It's almost a full moon. I thought it'd be a little bit less. You know, the helical focuser is also not the greatest. You know, I don't mind it when I'm looking at deep sky objects because you don't have to get critical. It's just a fuzzy little ball or a fuzzy galaxy. But when I do planets, I don't normally use this. But okay, at 31 power, let me see how this one looks. Using the rack and pinion focuser of the Skywatcher Burge-Jones is a little bit more precise. Okay. It's kind of hard to tell at 31 power, but I do think the Skywatcher Heritage is just a little bit better. Tiny bit, but at this low power, it's kind of very small difference. If there's any, it's so tiny difference. Let's bump up the power. Okay, I put a 5 millimeter, which takes me up to 150 power, which is actually kind of high. I would have hoped to go to about, 80 something power, but I don't think I have matching powers. 150 is where I'm matching. I can match at 125, so let's try that. Okay, at 125 power on the Heritage, looks good. Now I can see kind of the vibrations in here. So even though the Super Polaris is good with 2 telescopes on here, and 2 camera weights, I think it's getting probably a little bit close to its limits, but it's still doable. And the matching 125 millimeters here is this one. You know what, guys? It's still extremely hard to tell any difference between these two. If it is, it's just slight. it's still putting up a pretty good image. Now, I can't really put the cell phone to it because with the Heritage, it doesn't have a locking nut. Now, I know I did a video of how to make a locking nut, but that was the one that I sold before I went on my trip. And this was the new one that I had to buy 2 days before. So I don't have a locking nut for the eyepiece on this one. But as far as I can tell, and seeing both of these, okay, I'll look back again. It's good too. Okay, let me go back one more time. You know, I'm gonna say it's around 5%, no more than 10% maximum, the difference. It's very, very minute, the difference. So, you know, why people keep saying the Burns-Jones design sucks is because they're talking about the bad Burns-Jones design, where they're putting it 2 times Barlow under the focus. So you guys know what I mean. But when you're talking about a well-made Burns-Jones design with that corrector in the light path, it's actually, compared to a parabolic one, maybe it's 5 to 10%. Again, it's really hard to tell percent-wise, but for me, it's very, very minimal. It's not even really a lot, it's just slight. Now you can see as it gets towards the outer edge of the field, it becomes a little less sharp. But again, I think most people, if you had one of these and you didn't even have side-by-side comparison, you wouldn't even be able to tell. But even side-by-side comparison with a real parabolic mirror, it's really very close. I think either one can suit you. So there you go, guys. Unfortunately, sorry I can't put the cameras. These are weird angles I'm at right now. And the skywatcher, to put a camera on here, is not going to work, or it's just going to slip. This is a better focuser. Not the greatest focuser, but better than this one. So at high powers, this one, I don't like it. But I didn't buy it for high power viewing of the planets or the moon. But there we go. So I would say minimum 5 to 7, 8%, a little bit sharper than that. But really, what they say is our eyes can't distinguish anything less than 9%. So it's very, very minor, but might be a small performance-wise in here. So I'm going to say yes, a little bit, but I'm also going to say it's so minute that you might not even be able to tell. So the important thing too of this guy is to make sure that it's collimated. Now on the 8GN, I had the most hardest time collimating that guy. This one seems to be better. Now maybe it was made better, or maybe because it's not as massive and as heavy, that it's holding collimation much better than the 8GN. So maybe take that into consideration as well. Skywatcher Heritage, 5 to 8% better, but that one actually performed. I was actually thinking it would be closer to like 20% difference, you know what I mean? But very good. It's holding its own. Anyway, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys are on the forums and you'd like to share my channel, that would be great. If you know anybody getting into hobby, share my channel. And once a month, I do put a members video, which the regular channel does not see. So if you want to join that, that supports the channel. If you can't join, then that's okay. There's lots of other videos to see. Why not you? Why not me?